So, now welcome to part 2 of this video. And I'm actually not going to show you the outside because I think it's boring after a lot of videos. So, I'm going to mix it up a little. And also stay here. So, now welcome to part 2 of the forecast. I've revealed my numbers. Now I'm going to go a little bit more fancy into why. So, let's take a look at my 1997 analog, what that had. So far, common complaint after the first three systems were that we've been seeing a lot of dud tropical storms in the middle of nowhere. Guess what? It's part of El Nino years. 1997 had that, 2009 had that, 2006 had that to a certain extent. Actually, yeah, it had a lot. It had Rosa, a few other duds, Gilma, Fabio. 2002 had that pretty much every recent EPAC season in the last 15 years. Or pretty much any Generation 6 so we are in? Generation 6 Eastern Pacific Hurricane season, which goes back to the late 90s, like 95 and 97. 95 and 98 rather, but any hurricane season from that time. So, hold on. I didn't leave. Alright, anyway, let's get sorry for a sec. But yes, this is part of the way it's going to be for a while, even in El Nino season. You can't expect perfection. I mean, even if the lemon I mentioned yesterday, which is now in Mandarin, it's been invested. It's now Invest 90E, and its chances have been elevated to 30-50. So, to me, it's looking like it has a shot. We have something here out there that actually has a chance at developing. There's a good shot at developing, and the thing is that after 2 days, development chances get cut off. But that is more of a pattern that we're likely going to see as we progress towards the late season, as I said in part 1. Now, what should we expect from an impact standpoint? Now, I think, given the northward intertropical zone, the very strange weather has been, very strange weather, given the uncertainty whether or not El Nino forms, this is part of this. Now the term where the atmosphere is trying to end this stalemate it's been in for about 3 years now, and that has favored more Eastern Pacific systems, but a lot of landfalls. That's one of the reasons why I have high confidence in such a bullish forecast, is for that reason. The fact that if we stay in this stalemate we've been in, we're going to get a high teens. If we're in the El Ninos, you're going to get a high teens as well. But because of all the weak systems, I downgraded my forecast from 8 hurricanes to 7. It was more of it's still a pretty trivial change. The season should still be pretty busy. For about twice as active as the Atlantic. More than twice as active as the Atlantic, so I definitely have more majors in the Atlantic. But this is actually being kind of boring, but I will mention a few other things, and that is how it's going to get a late starting El Nino. That's how in El Nino, this El Nino does not form. We could see a lot of landfall, just like we did in 2013. With the negative SOI finally, at last, starting to cooperate for the first time since March. That's when we got a lot of westerly wind bursts, really for the first 3 months of the year. That's why we got to an El Nino, but since then, the westerly wind burst movement has collapsed, and such, we go from looking at a very favorable environment to a less favorable environment, more of the same stalemate that we've seen the past few years. Which, interestingly enough, leads to more landfalls than you typically expect. We've been in a weird global pattern, and we need an El Nino to break that. From a global standpoint, we need it to rain here in California, in Nevada and California. What the heck? What? So, yeah, it'd be beneficial if this would come here, help break the stalemate. But that could lead to less landfalls, because El Nino years tend to have red meat landfalls, and we probably will see a red meat landfall or two as the season, as typically seen in El Ninos. We'll see less landfalls overall, but the southwest U.S. does have to watch, even if we're not going to get a super El Nino like we were originally expecting. So far this season, it hasn't been anything too bad. But that doesn't mean we can't keep watching the basin for further development. As we get deeper into the alphabet, we'll start seeing more landfall potential, I promise you that. And we'll keep you posting these more weekly updates. But if we can get that westerly wind burst activity that we were getting until a few days ago, well, until that we were getting the first half of the year that we just got back now, we could see a lot of activity coming up. And it's going to become a very dangerous and entertaining season, much like 1997 was. So, at the first 3 months of the year, it looks like we could have a banner season. Really, the first 6 months, really only the past month, there's been somewhat of a decrease in activity in the eastern Pacific. But we're still running a bit above normal, and there's no need to absolutely pack. My forecast was very conservative, largely because of the uncertainty and the unconfidence and the back and forth nature, and just everyone being so hypercritical as usual. And that's why I only forecasted 18 named storms. Because I don't want to forecast 22 named storms and having that bust. And it's just a bad situation all in all. Given that the confidence of hurricane season forecasting was emphasized by the past 2 Atlantic hurricane seasons, and how they exactly didn't turn out how planned. So, there you go. I'm about to wrap this up. And there's any other indicators, I will say I will say that we've seen a setup similar to 2004 in regards to troughing. But the ridge looks strong this year. That's typical of what you see in El Nino years. That could favorite and worst ones out to sea, but I'm not very good at determining that. It's a weakness in my hurricane forecasting skills, so I'm not going to go comment any further. Let's wrap this up. I'm signing off. At least for now, I might make another video later tonight, but I might not. I'm wrapping this up for now. This is part 2 of 2. See ya. Bye.